Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, y'all ready for some questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So, the first question that we have this morning is that we keep hearing on the news all over the place. This is a historic election. This is a huge election that we've had. And what makes that so big, historic, huge?
I think right off the bat, it's the number of people that have registered to vote and are participating in the election. Isn't this is the largest voter turnout in how long?
So I think 1908, when William Howard Taft ran against William Jennings Bryan, I think that was we're at those levels. The other was 1960, Kennedy versus Nixon. I believe those are the two watermark. There's been a lot of interest. Last night at Yams at our youth gathering, one of the questions Catherine asked, she says, "Do you all know how historic this is? That this moment we're living in is how important this is, how historic this is." And I'm glad that she asked that question. She took that moment to ask that question because as sort of tense and difficult as this moment is in our national history, so many people voted. And it looks like it's going to be upwards of 140 million people.
I think another question to tie this, what does voting have to do with our life as Christians? What does this have to do with our life as Christians?
I think that question is really answered a lot by the next one, by question 2. But I think Pastor, you're right.
Yeah, kind of slid that bonus question in there. But question 2 is, was Jesus political?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he wasn't partisan.
Right.
He didn't care if you were Republican or Democrat or Whig or Tory or whatever you were.
No,
he wasn't partisan.
Jesus
he was very political.
Like systems, right?
And I think going back to what Pastor Eric, what you said, Jesus wasn't Republican or Democrat, but politics really deal with thinking about the ways in which a community is structured and created so that all people can live in that community. And I think what Jesus was interested in when he was talking about politics is he realizes that in different communities, there are people who have power and people who don't have power. And the concern was, how are the people with power treating the people who don't have power? And I think he gets at that quite a bit in Scripture. And I think the entire Bible gets at that. So, yeah, Jesus was political. So what does that have to do with our lives today as Christians as we look in an election?
That's how your question before, your good question, connects with this. It's how do you then take all of those lessons of Jesus, but also the whole of Holy Scripture, everything, and determine what does it mean for how we live today?
Yeah, I just don't talk. I don't tell people who I vote for. I don't talk about it. It's none of your business. Plus, it's way too close to Thanksgiving, and politics and Thanksgiving. Nothing comes between turkey.
Okay, question 3. Next week is Veterans Day, and that's the day that we honor those, or that it's a day set aside to honor those that, it's for everyone who served our country, whether they're living or whether they've died. It's to remember those who have served our country in our military. So in light of Veterans Day and honoring those who have served our country and all that's happening, what are y'all's plans for observing Veterans Day?
To be a little reflective, I will say an extra prayer this year for our country. I am unsettled about where we are as a country, regardless of who ends up being elected the leader. Somebody said to me this week, she said, it seems like we've given up on each other in this country. So I'm going to say an extra prayer this Veterans Day for our country.
Yeah, I think I pray for the country. I usually try to, I think on, my grandparents both served, my grandfathers both served. So I think on them on the day, and I try to reach out to some of my friends that are either still in the service or have retired, and kind of thank them for what they've done.
But everybody has those stories in their family that at some point at some time or another in our history, there has been a need for our military to act, and we have a lot of different opinions around reasons to go to war. We have a lot of different opinions around military. I think most families in this country have a relationship to someone who served in the military, and that is a piece of that family's story. I think recognizing that something that goes into a history book like a war, a whole big war that could involve the world, it involves us on an individual family level, and remembering what that does to families deal with, and what the people who serve deal with when they come home. Well,
Wow.
that was quite an addition, but quite a reflective edition, I think. But
It is. It's we should be a reflective right now in our country. Thanks for the questions. Where should they send new ones?
The new question should go to Daniel, youth@smlccharleston.org. And if you have any questions that you want to send our way, by all means, we'd love to have them. And we will see you all next week.
Bye. Bye-bye.